Steve Jobs was not born into a rich or famous family. In fact, his life began with a difficult decision. He was born on February 24, 1955, in San Francisco, California. His biological mother was a young college student. She was not ready to raise a child, so she decided to give him up for adoption. Steve was adopted by a kind couple, Paul and Clara Jobs. Paul was a mechanic, and Clara was an accountant. They lived in a small house and worked hard to give Steve a good life. From a young age, Steve was curious about how things worked. He loved to take things apart and put them back together. As a child, Steve was intelligent, but he did not enjoy school very much. He often got bored in class because the lessons were too easy for him. However, one of his teachers noticed his talent and encouraged him to keep learning. When Steve was a teenager, he met a friend who would change his life forever, Steve Wozniak. They both loved electronics and spent many hours working on small projects in a garage. Together, they dreamed of building something big. In 1972, Steve went to college, but he dropped out after just 6 months. He felt that traditional education was not for him. However, he didn't stop learning. He continued to attend classes that interested him, such as calligraphy. Later, he said this class helped him design the beautiful fonts used in Apple computers. Steve's life was full of challenges, but he never gave up on his dreams. In 1976, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak started a company in a garage. They called it Apple. At first, no one believed that two young men in a garage could build a successful computer company. But Steve had a vision. He wanted to make computers simple, beautiful, and easy to use. He believed that technology should help people be more creative. Their first computer, the Apple I, was simple but powerful. It was the beginning of something big. The Apple I was a success, but Steve Jobs wanted to do more. He dreamed of creating a computer that everyone could use easily, not just experts. So, Steve and Steve Wozniak worked hard to design a new computer called the Apple II. This computer was better, faster, and had color graphics. The Apple II became very popular. It helped start a new era in personal computers. Because of this success, Apple became a real company, and Steve Jobs became a millionaire at just 25 years old. But money was not Steve's only goal. He wanted to change the world with technology. In the early 1980s, Steve worked on a new project called the Macintosh. The Macintosh was the first computer to use a mouse and windows on the screen, which made it easier to use than other computers. Steve believed that technology should be friendly and beautiful. However, not everyone agreed with Steve. Some people in the company thought his ideas were too risky or too expensive. In 1985, after many disagreements, Steve was forced to leave Apple, the company he had started. This was a very hard time for Steve. Many people thought his career was over. But Steve did not give up. Instead, he started a new company called Next, which made computers for businesses and schools. At the same time, Steve bought a small company called Pixar. Pixar was a group of artists and computer programmers who wanted to make animated movies. Steve believed in their creativity and supported their work. Pixar made the first ever computer animated movie called Toy Story in 1995. The movie was a huge success and changed the world of animation forever. This success made Steve Jobs even richer and more famous. Meanwhile, Apple was struggling without Steve. The company made many mistakes, and its computers were not popular anymore. In 1997, Apple bought Next, and Steve Jobs returned to the company he had founded. His return was a turning point. Steve brought new ideas and energy to Apple. He focused on designing simple, beautiful products that people loved to use. One of his first big successes after returning was the iMac, a colorful and stylish computer. But Steve's biggest success was still to come. In 2007, Apple introduced the iPhone. This small device was not just a phone, it was a powerful computer that fit in your hand. The iPhone changed how people communicate, work, and have fun. Steve Jobs was known for his passion and perfectionism. He pushed his team to create products that were not only useful, but also works of art. He believed technology and creativity go hand in hand. Steve's life teaches us many lessons. He showed us that it is okay to be different, to take risks, and to never stop dreaming, even when things are difficult. Steve Jobs' return to Apple was just the beginning of a new era. After the success of the iMac, he and his team continued to create amazing products. In 2001, Apple introduced the iPod, a small music player that could hold thousands of songs. This device changed the way people listened to music. Steve believed in making technology simple and beautiful. The iPod was easy to use and looked very stylish. It became very popular around the world. Next, Apple created the iTunes Store, which let people buy music online. This changed the music industry forever. Steve Jobs was not only a technology leader, but also a person who changed whole industries, from computers to music to movies. But Steve's biggest project was still ahead, the iPhone. When the iPhone came out in 2007, it was unlike anything people had seen before. It was a phone, a music player, and a small computer all in one device. People loved the iPhone because it was easy to use and very powerful. After the iPhone, Apple released the iPad in 2010, a tablet computer that was perfect for reading, watching videos, and working on the go. Despite all his success, Steve Jobs faced serious health problems. In 2004, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, a very serious illness. He fought the disease for many years, but never stopped working and dreaming. Steve believed in living life fully and making the most of every moment. He said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life." Even while sick, Steve continued to guide Apple and inspire millions of people around the world. In 2011, Steve Jobs passed away at the age of 56. His death was a sad moment for many, but his ideas and vision live on. Steve Jobs showed us how passion, creativity, and determination can change the world. He taught us to think differently and believe in ourselves. Steve Jobs' story is not just about technology and success. It is about creativity, courage, and believing in your dreams. Here are some important lessons we can learn from his life. 1. Follow your passion. Steve loved technology and design. He worked hard every day because he cared deeply about what he was doing. When you do what you love, work does not feel like work. 2. Think differently. Steve believed in new ideas and was not afraid to be different. He once said, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." This means always keep learning and never be afraid to try new things. 3. Never give up. Even when Steve was fired from Apple, he didn't stop dreaming. He started new companies and came back stronger than ever. 4. Focus on quality. Steve wanted every product to be perfect. He taught us that details matter, and doing your best work can make a big difference. Finally, 5. Use creativity and technology together. Steve combined art and science to make beautiful and useful products. Creativity can help solve problems in new ways. Steve Jobs changed the world in many ways. His work changed how we communicate, listen to music, watch movies, and use computers. Now you have heard his inspiring story, a story of hard work, creativity, and courage. Thank you for learning English with this story about Steve Jobs. Remember, you can use stories to improve your English and learn about amazing people at the same time. If you liked this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell for more inspiring stories that help you learn English.